When you're new to crow pose, you learn it a bit lower, just kind of getting used to putting weight on your hands, balancing off the ground. But the problem with this is that there's a lot of energy down, and you tend to get those bruises on the back of your arms. So when I'm teaching crow and I'm teaching how to really integrate and draw in and up, I like to use cat position, as well as the knees or the heels pulling up towards the glutes to find the hamstring engagement. So from a tabletop position, inhale, and exhale, spread the shoulder blades wide, protracting, pulling the navel into the spine. Then with the knees together, point the toes and pull the heels up so that your students or yourself understands that getting the knees high up on the triceps, leaning forward, spreading the shoulder blades wide, pointing the toes and pulling the heels up is a great way to lift the energy in your crow. Plank is so commonly mispracticed because the hips are either sagging down or piked up. And I don't think it's because of plank by itself. I think it's because of the transition between down dog and plank. Sometimes our down dogs are too short, so we shift forward and we end up too tight and our hips stay lifted. Or our down dogs are a little bit too sagging or pressing back, so as we shift forward, we sag down as well. So make sure when you're practicing your plank that you set people up in plank to begin with, because this is a great way to understand how long your down dog should be. Balls of the feet underneath the heels, shoulders over the wrists, then go back into that downward facing dog. Then as you come up onto the balls of your feet, draw your tailbone to your heels and your ribs in as you shift forward into plank, and you'll end up in that nice protracted core in and tight plank pose. Chaturanga Dandasana is not an easy pose, but we do it a lot because it's part of a vinyasa. One of the most common things that happens is because maybe lack of awareness or lack of strength, the shoulder tips drop and the butt pikes up high. What happens with this is internal rotation and pain in the shoulder. So I like to take students from their plank pose. Really important to shift forward to the tips of the toes first, then put the knees down, keeping the ribs and the navel in, shoulder tips lifted and shoulder blades down the back, bend the elbows, getting the elbows in line with the sides of the ribs. If you have students who don't understand how far forward they should shift in that chaturanga, once again, taking the blocks behind the forearms, shifting all the way forward to the tips of the toes in your plank, knees come down, bend your elbows, keeping the shoulder tips lifted.